And then let us turn our attention to the best position, or most headache inducing position, really, tight ends. So the names that kind of stand, there's actually a number of names this week that I like. So Evan Ingram is a perennial guy. He's like a permanent fixture on this waiver wire report, because he's actually pretty quietly been pretty good. I mean, he's averaging 7.7 targets per game, tight end 9 in half PPR scoring through the last 3 weeks. Has not found the end zone this year, but the targets have kept him very much afloat. I don't like the schedule coming up for him, particularly against the Broncos, but certainly could be in the streaming conversation the weeks after against the Raiders and Chiefs. Couple of rookie tight ends that I actually really like. I had both of these guys on my look ahead waiver wire report. That's Greg Dulcich and Cade Otton. Dulcich is everything that we hoped Albert Okwuegbunam would have been. By the way, I spent all, offseason trying to pronounce this name, and it ended up not being important. But he looks like everything we wanted Albert O to be. He's looking like the tight end one in Denver, which I get it. It's not as exciting, especially with Ripien throwing passes, but Russell Wilson might look better once he has a little bit of rest. And I think he's an impressive prospect. So he's definitely someone that I would keep an eye on in deeper leagues. And definitely, we have Cameron Brate out with a neck injury, and it looks like he's becoming the tight end one in Tampa. So caught 4 or 5 targets for 65 yards in a game that, they scored 3 points. Hopefully they can generate a little more offense in the future. And one name I did want to ask you about was Juwan Johnson, specifically because he is out there in almost every league, 3% rostered, just absolutely stellar week in week 7. He's the tight end 2 in half PPR behind only George Kittle. Is this an indication of future usage for him, or is this kind of just like all the injuries, or maybe just the injuries will linger and it'll still be a thing? I don't know. Is Juwan Johnson a thing?
Well, first of all, I'm proud of you on the Albert O pronunciation. I was going to let you say the last name of our wide receiver, Ben, in Los Angeles with the Rams, and I just let him go unmentioned because I did not do name research. I was letting that be your department. Yeah, that's so funny. Dulcich and Otton, 2 teams that did not score a touchdown this week. You want to believe in those guys. And actually, Otton is one. I just told you I'm a glutton with Tampa Bay. So Otton is probably the one on this list that I would pick up because I just feel like there's some upside there. Juwan Johnson's really interesting. I think the reason he's only 3% rostered is because the crowd of tight ends in New Orleans, Taysom Hill, who we've talked about a lot in recent weeks and who I still like better than all these names just because his plays are so high impact. And again, he finally caught his first touchdown pass this week. But Adam Troutman, who probably leads them in snaps in most weeks because of his run blocking ability, and has gotten some end zone targets. He has been injured, and I'm not sure if he'll be back yet this week. But what Juwan Johnson has consistently been all year is their hurry up guy. So he got a ton of volume in week 1 when they spent the entire fourth quarter in their sort of no huddle, hurry up, catch up mode, 5 wide. And that's what was happening again in Arizona. And he gets 2 touchdown passes in that case. So in a typical week when they're according to script, Juwan Johnson is a fine option, but he doesn't really separate himself. But the fact that he is their guy that keeps Troutman and Hill off the field if they have to go pass heavy, and unfortunately that's sort of a new reality for the Saints these days. He absolutely is an option who is capable of having a 2 touchdown game in a situation like this. They like him in the red zone and they like him in hurry up.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, he's got the Raiders soft defense on deck in week 8. So he could be at least on the streaming radar in deeper leagues. And one last name I wanted to mention, we talked about the David Njoku injury. Harrison Bryant, 0% rosters. You can get him in any league out there. I mean, David Njoku has been really surprising this season. Tight end 6 in half PPR scoring through 7 weeks. He caught all 7 of his targets for 71 yards. High ankle sprain will definitely miss some time, and Bryant is the next man up on the depth chart. I think that the targets will be distributed. Like, I think guys like Donovan Peoples-Jones and maybe David Bell might get a little bit more involvement with this injury. But Harrison Bryant would be the next guy up, so just keep an eye on him.